Welcome to Echoes of Evidence, a channel that explores the world's greatest ancient mysteries by presenting the strongest arguments from mainstream archaeology and alternative researchers side by side. No agenda, just the evidence. You decide. High in the sacred valley of Peru, overlooking the modern town that still bears its name, sits Ollantaytambo, a site that appears to have been built by two completely different civilizations working thousands of years apart. On one side, official archaeology tells us this was a royal estate constructed by the Inca Emperor Pachacuti in the mid-15th century, an impressive but fully explainable example of Inca engineering. On the other, independent researchers point to multi-ton megalithic blocks fitted with microscopic precision, features that seem far beyond the known capabilities of the Inca, and identical to far older sites like Puma Punku in Bolivia. Today we're going to examine both sides in detail: the official story, the alternative claims, and the evidence that still doesn't fit either timeline perfectly. And as always, you get to vote in the comments. Let's start with the established archaeological consensus, the view you'll find in Peruvian textbooks, UNESCO documentation, and most academic publications. According to the Peruvian Ministry of Culture and leading archaeologists specializing in the Inca, Ollantaytambo was constructed around 1440 to 1500 AD by the Emperor Pachacuti after he conquered the region from local ethnic groups. The site served as a royal estate, ceremonial center, and strategic fortress. The famous Temple of the Sun, with its 6 massive red porphyry monoliths, was left unfinished when the Spanish invasion disrupted construction in the 1530s. Mainstream researchers point to several lines of evidence. First, Spanish chroniclers, who arrived shortly after the conquest, described Inca workers actively quarrying and moving stones. Second, the quarry at Pachacuti, just 6 kilometers away across the valley, still contains unfinished blocks and thousands of stone hammers consistent with known Inca techniques. Third, the characteristic Inca polygonal masonry, with its bulging pillow-faced blocks, is found across many late Inca sites, including Machu Picchu, Pisac, and Sacsayhuaman. And fourth, carbon dating of organic material in mortar and associated structures falls squarely in the 15th century. In this view, the Inca transported the stones using manpower, wooden rollers, earthen ramps, and ropes, techniques they demonstrated on a grand scale elsewhere. The precision fitting was achieved through patient trial and error with harder stone pounders. Official conclusion: Ollantaytambo is 100% Inca, less than 600 years old, an extraordinary achievement, but entirely within the capabilities of pre-Columbian Andean engineering. Now, let's examine the alternative perspective that has gained traction among independent researchers, engineers, and visitors who have studied the site up close. What stands out immediately are clear differences in construction style across the site. The lower courses, especially the wall of the 6 monoliths at the so-called Temple of the Sun, consist of enormous andesite and red porphyry blocks, some weighing 50 to 70 tons, fitted together with gaps so tight you cannot insert a razor blade or even a sheet of paper. These blocks were quarried across the valley, down one steep mountainside, across 2 rivers, and up another mountain, with no evidence of a completed Inca road or ramp system capable of moving them. Many of the largest stones display precision bevels, knobs, and protrusions identical to those found at Puma Punku and Tiwanaku in Bolivia. Sites many alternative researchers date far earlier. Some surfaces appear almost vitrified or polished in a way not seen in typical Inca work. Local Quechua oral traditions, recorded by Spanish chroniclers and still told today, insist that the megalithic walls were already standing when the Inca arrived. The Inca themselves reportedly told the Spanish that only legendary gods or a race of giants could have moved such stones. Recent LIDAR scans and limited excavations, 2022 to 2025, have revealed older, buried polygonal walls beneath the visible Inca layers, suggesting at least two distinct building phases separated by a vast stretch of time. Researchers like Brien Foerster, Graham Hancock, and geologist Dr. Robert Schoch argue that the core megalithic structures could belong to the same pre-cataclysm era as the Sphinx water erosion hypothesis, potentially 10,000 to 12,000 years old or older. Here's where the mystery deepens. Several key details don't align perfectly with either narrative. The Inca were undeniably capable of moving massive stones. They transported 200-ton blocks to Sacsayhuaman near Cusco, so the impossible argument isn't absolute. Yet the red porphyry monoliths at Ollantaytambo are harder than granite and show surfaces and joints of a precision rarely matched elsewhere in Inca architecture. The quarry at Pachacuti contains unfinished blocks with the same distinctive knobs and bevels, proving the Inca were attempting to copy or continue an older style. Some of the tightest, most precise joints are found on the lowest, most heavily weathered layers, exactly the opposite of what you'd expect if the Inca represented the peak of the technology. Ground-penetrating radar and magnetometry surveys in recent years have detected large rectangular anomalies and possible older chambers beneath the site, features that remain unexcavated. The entire complex aligns with certain solstice and astronomical events, but in ways that differ from typical Inca solar observatories. So here are the three most realistic possibilities on the table in 2026. 1. Everything visible today is 15th century Inca engineering. The alternative researchers are simply overinterpreting normal variation in Inca skill. 2. The increasingly accepted middle ground. The megalithic core and oldest foundations are 10,000 years old or more, and the Inca repaired, expanded, and added their own layers on top. 3. We're missing an intermediate highland civilization with advanced stoneworking knowledge that flourished between the end of the Ice Age and the rise of the Inca. After seeing the stones virtually up close, which theory are you leaning toward right now? Team Official Inca, Team Ancient Megalithic Builders, or the middle ground? Drop your vote and your strongest piece of evidence in the comments. I read every single one, and the top ideas will shape future videos. If you haven't watched the Sphinx episode yet, it's linked in the description. Next week, Puma Punku, the site that makes Ollantaytambo look straightforward. Hit subscribe and the bell. This journey is just getting started. See you then.